What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here with the Black Boss Channel, Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Come on into the room. Come on into the room because we got a lot to talk about. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Please put your comments in the chat. We might even open up the phone lines, even though nobody ever calls me, but we might still open it up. We're here today to talk about the Southern Heritage Classic. It is going to take place, and you guys don't understand how happy I am. You know, I'm someone who lives in this area over here in Louisville, and so that's why having this game in Memphis, hell, it's the closest game to me. So it's an easy drive me to go down to Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm happy that this game is taking place, but I am going to tell you why you all are the reason why this game is taking place. Not because of the money. It's not because of the money. It is because of you all. And if you guys don't think that your opinion and what you say on social media and what you do and who you talk to and all these things that take place, I'm going to tell you why all of that matters today. So let's talk about it right after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Like I said, I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. here. Shout out to Stephen Campbell. Shout out to Miss Shanita Crisis, sir. Awesome Sounds, Christina Littles, Ron C. All you guys in the chat, all you guys filling up the chat because we're here today to talk about the Southern Heritage Classic. Yes, the Southern Heritage Classic, which was canceled, is now back on for the fall of 2022 for one last time. And I see some of you guys already telling me it's not because of the backlash, not because of the yes, it is because of the backlash. Yes, it is because of the way I have been one on here, on wax, told you guys that you guys matter, that what you guys say on social media, whether it's in Facebook groups, Facebook statuses, Twitter, emails to the school, mentions, YouTube comments, all of that stuff matters. If you guys don't think that the coaches and the ADs and the administrators see that stuff, you are wrong. They see what you all put out. They see how you all are reacting. They see these kind of things. That stuff matters to them. And if you don't think it matters, take this Southern Heritage Classic as an example. The Southern Heritage Classic wasn't going to happen because Jackson State came to Mr. Fred Jones, TSU, Southern Heritage Classic organizers or whatever, and said yesterday's price ain't today's price. They quoted Fat Joe and was like, yo, we signed an agreement with the Southern Heritage Classic before we was JSU, this JSU. We signed that when we were JSU. We were having losing seasons and hadn't won a SWAC championship, and we weren't, right or wrong for whatever reason. And so they signed that contract those years back when that was happening. Now they're like, yo, this is Coach Prime. This is JSU 11-2. This is the SWAC champions. This is big JSU. Like, this is big JSU. And so, little JSU, they signed that deal. A.D. Robinson, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, this is big JSU, and so y'all not cutting the checks. Y'all not cutting the checks. JSU, over 30 years of playing the Southern Heritage Classic organized by Mr. Fred Jones, has gotten a payout around $6 million. All of these numbers came out via the television stations out in Memphis. They got like around $6 million over 30 years. Commissioner McClellan of the SWAC came out and said, yo, we can make $3 million from the SWAC Classic in one game. So think about that. 30 years, $6 million. One game, $3 million. Come on, y'all. That's like, come on. That's not even that's not even a comparison. It's not even a debate. It's not even a reason. Like there's no comparison on why they wouldn't take that game. And so let's first. What we're gonna do, we're gonna read together, because you guys know I like to do stuff together. We're going to read together the statement put out by Jackson State. So in this statement alone, I'm sorry I got kind of intense, but this statement alone lets me know that you guys are the reason why they decided to play for one last time, by the way. It's only one last time. It's not like it's an ongoing thing. It's not going to last to 24. I think the contract is supposed to end in 24. It's not going to last 24. They're going to play in this game one last time, but it's all because of you in this statement proves it completely. Let's read it. And all of us, a lot of you guys in here are HBCU grads, so it means you went to college. And so that means we have reading comprehension skills. So for the people that are telling me it's not because of the backlash, let's read this together. That way we know that it is because of the backlash. It says a statement from Jackson State University regarding the Southern Heritage Classic. It says last week, confidential legal correspondence between Jackson State University and Summit Management Corporation was leaked, which did not reflect the ongoing communication between the parties. We understand how football fans plan to attend games months in advance, and it was never our intent to abruptly cancel participation during the 2022 season. The 2022 Southern Heritage Classic game between Jackson State and Tennessee State University will be played as originally planned. We are pleased with the conclusion and look forward to bringing the SWAC Championship JSU Tigers back to Memphis in September for what? One final battle on the gridiron. What's that last? Final battle. So, what are some key words that stand out to us? All together. Let's all say it together. What are the key words that stand out from this message put out by Jackson State? The first thing that stood out early in the message was our correspondence was leaked. Somebody put out what we had been telling them. That means they didn't like that information came out. They wanted that information to come out when their final schedule came out. Because if this information doesn't come out until their final schedule comes out, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. They're going to play in the game because it's in the final schedule and there's no going back. But because of whoever leaked it, Jackson State saying they didn't put it out. Whoever leaked it, whether it was Mr. Fred Jones, whether it was Tennessee State, whether it was whoever leaked it, that ruined their plans. And so as soon as the stuff gets leaked, that means they can't put their schedule out because of why? All of the backlash. All of the backlash. Once they got leaked, JSU, from some fans, and especially from the city of Memphis, not to mention Tennessee State and their president, attacked Jackson State. They attacked them like crazy. They came after JSU, and JSU fans, y'all understood. Y'all were like, yo, that game don't make sense for us. We've been trying to get out of that game for years. That game brings us no money. It brings us no money at all. It benefits the city of Memphis. It benefits Mr. Fred Jones. It benefits everybody but JSU. And this is what JSU fans were telling me in the comments. This is what you guys were saying. This is what you guys were saying to me. Like, we can go through the old comments. This is what you were saying to me. And so y'all were like, yo, to hell with that game. Right or wrong, that's what y'all were saying. And so I was like, once I got the details, I was like, damn, $6 million over 30 years, whereas the SWAC Classic could potentially pay them $3 million for one game? Oh, shit, I get why they left. I understand why they left. Shoot, it made perfect sense to me. Someone who doesn't have ties to these universities, someone who doesn't have ties to this game, someone who doesn't matter. It benefits me because it's close. It makes it an easier trip than going down to Jackson. That's all it made for me. And so when whoever leaked this, because JSU saying they didn't leak it, it got to the public. And the public responded accordingly. Memphis people were pissed. Tennessee State people were pissed. Hell, even some Jackson people were pissed. But there were a lot of Jackson people who were cool with it. They was like, yo, to hell with that game. Y'all were like, to hell with that game. But there were some JSU fans and some JSU former players or whoever that was kind of upset because this is a rivalry game. This is a rivalry game. And so like I said, key words that stuck out to me was the leaked schedule, because as soon as the schedule the leaked information that the game wasn't taking place, because as soon as that came out, JSU took all the flack. Good or bad, Jackson State took all the flack. People were saying they breached the contract, that just looks bad. That's just a bad look. The breaching of the contract with no warning. The Tennessee State president, and we're going to read her letter, Miss Glenda Glover, was mad because she wasn't contacted. For some people, that's a bad look, depending on who you are. That's a bad look. They didn't like the fact that you, in some people's brain, you would replace the game with UAPB. And we're like, come on, man. and I'm not saying TSU was a great step up in competition compared to UAPB, but some folks felt like, you're missing out on a level of competition. Some folks hated the fact that you wouldn't get the Coach Prime, Deion Sanders versus Coach Eddie George. So there were a lot of factors. The national publicity that comes with this game, we saw what it got last year. And that was before JSU was SWAC champions. That was before Eddie George had a successful season. That was before, all the good things that both happened for the Tennessee State football program and the Jackson State football program in the fall of 2021. And you saw the coverage that it got. First Take was going to be there, but the virus kind of picked up, so they end up not making it. But they had Eddie George on. They had Deion Sanders on. They built it up. That was part of that was going to be one of their stops before. That was back when Delta kind of picked up. And so all of that fell at the feet of JSU. All of the bad stuff fell at the feet at JSU. And JSU was like, well, dang. Like, they just made us look like the villains. Now, we seen from what Coach Prime has said and some other things, he don't being a villain or some people trying to paint him a certain way, he don't care about all of that stuff, but dang, he don't want all of it. He don't want to be blamed every single time something happens. They don't want to just take the bare brunt of everything that happens. Oh, Nick thinks Tennessee State's going to beat JSU. Now, that's a different story. That's a different video. But I don't know about that, Nick. JSU got a pretty good team. Now, let's take a look at and this is when I say that Jackson State was taking all of the blame for this game potentially not taking place, or when it wasn't going to take place. This was we read this before on my channel, on Jeff Lightsy Jr. YouTube and the Black Boss channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, by the way. We read this statement. This was a statement put out by Tennessee State University President, Miss Glenda Glover. Let me make sure I'm saying her name. Yeah, President Glenda Glover, which a lot of y'all let me know she used to work at JSU, and that's actually kind of funny. Now, this is when Miss Glenda Glover, foul, was taking them shots at Jackson State. And a lot of y'all was like, man, she just mad she used to work at. But let's read it, man. Let's go ahead. This is a statement on Jackson State announcement to leave the Southern Heritage Classic. So remember, when the leak that Jackson State tells us came out, because it clearly wasn't from them, because they gained nothing from that information coming out. They absolutely gained positively nothing from the leak. So we pretty much know it wasn't Jackson State. A lot of y'all thinking it was Mr. Fred Jones. Some of y'all think, Tennessee State, whoever. Somebody leaked it. It wasn't Jackson State. But let's read what Miss, let me hold on one second. Hang on, lost my train. Here we go. Let's read what Miss Glenda Glover had to put out. It says, statement on Jackson State's announcement to lead the Southern Heritage Classic. Jackson State University announced that their football team will no longer play in the Southern Heritage Classic is an insensitive and irresponsible act that has far-reaching implications that go beyond football. The Classic is more than TSU and JSU, our alumni and fans. Now, this is where Miss Glenda Glover kind of blew me a little bit, because it was like, JSU don't care about Memphis. Jackson people from Jackson, Mississippi, people that are JSU alumni, they don't really care about the city of Memphis. But let's read what she had to say. The Memphis business community, including small Black-owned businesses, many of which are mom and pop businesses, will suffer incalculable damage. These businesses rely on contracts that are generated as a result of activities associated with the game and purchase supplies and other items in preparation for the annual event. Now, here's a timeout that I got to do for Ms. Glenda Glover. Just because Jackson State doesn't play in the Southern Heritage Classic doesn't mean the game can't take place. Just find a replacement team. This is where, I kind of had the problem with her, trying to, give Jackson State a little, tap them hands. Give them a little whooping, a little tongue lashing, because it's Jackson State ain't in Memphis. Jackson State's in Mississippi. You can find another team to replace, JSU in the game. Now, you won't get another team that's going to travel like JSU. Now, you won't get another team that's going to get national media coverage like JSU. Now, you won't get another team that's going to get people to come from wherever they're from, whether they're Jackson State fans or not, to come watch them like JSU. That all being true. That is very much true. But the tongue lashing, that was, it was a little patty. It was very a little patty. And then y'all let me know. Y'all did. Y'all was like, yo, she used to work at JSU. And I was like, oh, okay. There's a little more history there that I didn't know. There's a little more history there that I did not know. And you guys let me know Miss Glenda Glover used to work, or President Glenda Glover used to work at Jackson State. And let's continue on. It says, what's even more disappointing is that there was no opportunity for discussion or courtesy call to the TSU president, director of athletics, or head coach before the decision was made to breach the contract, which had 3 years remaining. Now, when I first made my first video, when we reacted to this, I was like, dang, they could have gave him a call. Like, dang, like, that is kind of petty because Coach Prime knows Coach Eddie George, and obviously they've been playing this game for a long time, so the ADs know each other. And, Ashley Robinson seems like he's a pretty cool dude just from the interviews and seeing him on TV. It's like, dang, they could have gave him a courtesy call. But then y'all Jackson State fans, y'all do not mess around. Y'all was like, yo, this game is hosted through a third party. We contacted the third party, Mr. Fred Jones. And I was like, yo, dang, okay. So my mind has kind of changed. I'm not saying the courtesy call still couldn't have been made. I'm not taking that away at all. But that makes me back off a little bit. It's not as harsh as I originally thought it was when this game is all orchestrated through Mr. Fred Jones out of Memphis. And I was like, okay, I feel y'all on that. I get it. I do. I swear I do. And so that is what it's come down to. Now, some people, I put this tweet out, and I knew, because Jackson State fans, y'all don't play about y'all football team. Y'all just don't mess around. And so I put this tweet out. I said, let me go ahead and share my screen. I said, and I knew I was going to get some responses. I didn't know how they were going to be, but I said, can we all agree that the Backlash got to JSU? And that's why they're playing in the Southern Heritage Classic this year. Because I honest to goodness believe that. I believe that the Backlash that was placed at the feet of JSU, right or wrong, is the reason why they're playing this game this year, because there's no other reason. Now, Vaughn is saying word is Fred cut the check, but the thing is, Fred can't cut a $3 million check. I don't think he can. The man gave the school $6 million over 30 years. JSU playing in the SWAC Classic. Commissioner McClellan came and told us, y'all can say he a liar or not, but I'm going to take the man for his word. The man told us, shout out to 35 Sports, shout out to you, boss. The man told us JSU, Southern, UPB have potentially made $3 million in one game. Fred Jones can't match that. Not if he's paying $6 million over 30 years. Now tell me if I'm wrong. So he can't cut a check big enough. And if the check was that big, if he really cut a check, then why are they saying this is the last year? We just read the JSU statement. It says one final time on the gridiron. What does that mean? That means we took heat, right or wrong. We took all the heat for the cancellation of the game. We're going to concede. We're going to take that little $300,000, $325,000, whatever Fred Jones pays. We're going to take that for one last time, because we understand that this is a game that people schedule for. They plan their calendar around this game. So we're going to take that little baby check one last time. We're going to play our game, and their brains are probably thinking we're going to beat the hell out of Tennessee State. They're probably thinking we're going to beat the hell out of Tennessee State one last time, and then we're going to move on. Go get our $3 million check from the SWAC Classic. Go get our $1, $2, $3 million check from the SWAC Classic in Birmingham. So that is why I know, nobody has to tell me. I know that the Backlash got to him. They admitted it. They admitted it in their statement. They said, we understand that fans prep for this game, that fans plan their calendar around this game, that fans want to attend this game, and they already have made reservations. Hell, I had some of y'all in my comments let me know that y'all had already booked your hotels and stuff and had to cancel because y'all thought the game was over. Now I hope y'all can rebook, because I know it's filling up. I know it's filling up, and I hope y'all can rebook. But now Vaughn says they've been negotiating the whole time. I get it, but what I'm saying, Vaughn, is Fred Jones can't cut a check big enough to keep JSU in this game. He just can't. He can't. This man is giving them $6 million over 30 years. Six. That was documented. He can't cut a check big enough to match with the SWAC Classic. He can't cut a check big enough when Birmingham and their city officials have promised JSU and the SWAC and Commissioner McClellan that they don't have to pay for a 70,000 seat stadium. They don't have to pay to run that stadium. And they take all the gate from the tickets. And they get national sponsors because it's a game not considered a SWAC game. So they can take a bidding war for TV rights. And they're going to get sponsors like Pepsi and all these different kind of sponsors. The Southern Heritage Classic can't compete. You can't compete when you don't compare. So I think, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm seeing. Like I'm just so when I say this is not and that's the thing. Like Jackson State fans, man, y'all can be sensitive sometimes. Y'all think everybody's against y'all. No, some of us are fans. I'm a fan. Like I'm literally a JSU fan. I've never made that a secret. I didn't attend an HBCU, and so I got into this late into the HBCU football world. You know, when Coach Prime came along, and I've been able to build an audience. I guess because you guys appreciate what I got to say. And so I come on here and I talk about JSU a lot. I talk about Grambling a lot. I talk about the SWAC and some of the different things that are happening on the football field a lot. And it's because you guys are always in the news. You guys are always entertaining. But just because we're talking about JSU don't mean we hating on the Tigers. I'm just breaking it down. I'm just breaking down what I see. And I saw the way the public reacted when the Southern Heritage Classic was canceled. Because I can tell you, as someone who has family in Memphis, the Southern Heritage Classic, now this doesn't mean nothing to JSU fans. This absolutely positively means nothing to you. And you guys let me know that. Southern Heritage Classic don't mean nothing to y'all. It's just another game, essentially. Another non-home game is what y'all was letting me know. And it's a game I feel like y'all getting ripped off on. But the Southern Heritage Classic, I will say, is a big deal in the city of Memphis. It is. My uncle told me, he has invited me to a number of Southern Heritage Classic. I've just never been able to make it. But it is a big deal in the city of Memphis. And that's why it was such a big deal when JSU pulled out. That is why, President Glenda Glover threw it all at the feet of Jackson State. That's why she put out that letter we just read. Because it is a big deal to them in Tennessee, specifically the city of Memphis. It's a big deal. And so it hurt their feelings. It really hurt their feelings when JSU pulled out. And President Glenda Glover threw it all at the feet of Coach Prime, A.D. Robinson, Jackson State president. She threw it all at their feet. I mean, I see some of y'all saying, man, forget that city. Let's tell the truth. Fred can't afford to pay us more from. And that's all I'm saying, Lillian. That's all I'm saying. Fred can't, like JSU. I want you guys to understand, like college football is fun for us. Like it's really fun to watch. It's really fun to ingest, really fun to talk about. It's really fun to discuss and debate and argue about who's better, who's doing this, who needs to improve, what coach needs to go. But let's be real about college football. Can we keep it 100 real quick? Let's be real about college football. College football is a business. At the end of the day, college football is a business, period. It's a game, but there's a lot of dollars that exchange during the college football season. And so if one game, the Southern Heritage Classic, albeit a fun game, albeit a lit game, albeit a classic, albeit against a team that's not in your conference, that you only get to play once a year, albeit all of those things, it's a fun, loving game. It's not a moneymaker. They have paid you $6 million over the course of 30 years. Commissioner McClellan is a businessman. Deion Sanders is a businessman. A.D. Robinson came from up under McClellan, so therefore he understands business. That game is giving you $6 million over 30 years. Was scheduled to pay you, or is scheduled to pay you, I'm assuming it's the same contract, $300, $325, no more than $350, $350,000 for one game. The SWAC Classic can bring you $3 million for one game. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer which one you play. It's a no-brainer. And the SWAC Classic could potentially have more people. And the SWAC Classic, your expenses are none. There's no expenses. There's literally no expenses. The city of Birmingham is paying for the stadium. The city of Birmingham is allowing you to take home all the ticket sales. The city of Birmingham is going to run the stadium. They're going to run the concessions. They're going to run everything. They're taking care of all of it. It's a no freaking brainer. It's a no-brainer which one you play. So, I don't know, but like I said, President Glover, Fred Jones, the city of Memphis, everybody was throwing the blame at the feet of Jackson State. And Jackson State was like, you know what? It's not even worth it. It's what I think. It's not me having no sources, not me. Once again, I want to make sure this is all my opinion. I think Jackson State, Coach Prime, A.D. Robinson, they was like, you know what? We got a lot of heat. We got a lot of backlash. There's some families, some people that probably made these reservations, had their minds set on this trip because we play it every year, and we didn't really give to hell with giving, Tennessee State a warning or giving Mr. Fred Jones a warning or giving them. We ain't got to give them a warning. But we owe it to our fans. We owe it to our people. We owe it to the people that come and support JSU to give them a 1-year heads up that we're not playing in this game moving forward. So you know what? Because it was leaked and it got some bad press, right or wrong, it got some bad press. We'll give our people a 1-year warning, a 1-year heads up. Like, hey, guys, hey, Coach Prime here, Deion Sanders. The Southern Heritage Classic, we ain't making no money from that. We make no more than $325,000, $350,000 a game from that. The SWAC Classic, we could potentially make $3 million. So we're going to play on one last Southern Heritage Classic. We're going to do it. We're going to go. We're going to beat TSU. But then moving forward, and this year included, we're going to play in what's known as the SWAC Classic. And in that SWAC Classic, if you show up to the game, we're going to make $3 million. And guess what? JSU fans are like, hey, I can work with that. I can work with that. Tell TSU. If they want to play Jackson State more regularly, if they want to play HBCUs more regularly, join the MEAC. Join the SWAC. Get that going. The OVC is going to hell. The OVC just added Southern Indiana State or something. Like, they just added, or Southern, they added some school I'd never heard of from D2, and they moved them up to the OVC because they're losing teams. Murray State, I think, is scheduled to leave. Austin P is scheduled to leave, I want to understand. So, like, Jackson State fans like, yo, we out of here. we out of here. Let me read some of your comments. I've been skipping a lot of these. Let me see what you says. JSU's Prince and TSU and the Southern Heritage Clash are the revolution. At some point, it's time to disband the revolution and move forward with funkier and more financial waters. That's all it is, man. It's business. College football at the end of the day is a business. It's fun for us to talk, debate, argue, whatever. But, man, the folks that running this stuff, they're not running it because they're the best looking. They're not running it because they can smooth talk or whatever. They're running that stuff because they're trying to make some money. And you get fired when you take bad deals. Think about this. Imagine if you are, as a fan, whether you're a Jackson State fan or not, just a bit like understanding business. If you're A.D. Robinson, or if you're Deion Sanders, or if you're whoever, and you have a $350,000 game and a $3 million game, and you chose the $350,000 game because it's cool, because it's called a classic. Like, it's a hell with that classic. Go on, that classic can kick rocks. Like, that classic can go on somewhere, man. So, like, yeah, man. Nah, man. Let me read some more. This is bad news is almost always delivered on a Fridays. It's just business. It's just business, man. Shout out to Wayne Solomon. He understands it. He gets it. Says, I wouldn't care less about Fred Jones and the president. And that's how most JSU fans feel. And that's most how JSU fans feel, since JSU is literally the definition of saying, yo, I'm just going to stay with it until I cash my check at the end of the month. And that's basically what it is, Nathaniel. That's pretty much what it is. It's like, honestly, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like, yo, it's like, look, man. It's like, look, all right, I got a new girl. You know, it's like having a man. It's like women having a man. It's like, but dang, that man a lot better than the one I got. I'm not calling TSU and not calling Mr. Fred Jones. You know, I'm preferencing all of this by saying I'm not calling them bums, but they okay. They okay. Ladies, you just went and got a new man. You just upgraded. It's okay. And it's okay to upgrade in life. That's what life's about. Life is about growth and development. Life is about upgrading. If you ain't looking to upgrade, if you ain't looking to grow, if you ain't looking to get better, if you ain't looking, JSU, when they signed this deal with Mr. Fred Jones, when they signed this deal with Tennessee State, when they signed this deal with the Southern Heritage Classic, they wasn't where they're at now. We know this. They still was holding their own, even though they were having losing seasons and had won a SWAC championship and done all this. They were still leading FCS in attendance. They were still one of the most talked about HBCUs. They were still one of the most talked about FCS programs. But then they went out and got Coach Prime. And then he goes out and brings in top players. And then they go and win 11 games. And they also win the SWAC East for the first time since 2013 and win the SWAC championship for the first time since 2007. And then they go to their first ever Celebration Bowl. And then they go out and then they top that. They top all of that by going out and get the number one player in the country, a 5-star. The first time a 5-star ever chose a FCS program, let alone an HBCU program. Then they followed that up by bringing in the number one player in the state of Missouri, a 4-star wide receiver, the number 4 receiver in the country. That's not the same JSU that signed that contract. That signed that contract with Mr. Fred Jones. That signed that contract with the city of Memphis. That signed that Southern Heritage Classic contract. It's not the same team. It's called growth and development. JSU's grown. JSU's developed. JSU's moving on. And that's okay. Because the Southern Heritage Classic doesn't have to die. It doesn't have to die. You can find a team. Grambling's pretty suitable. Maybe they'll play it. FAMU's doing really great things. Maybe they'll play it. It just won't be JSU. And so Jackson State, we're going to read their statement one last time. Jackson State is like, yo, we out of here. It says last week, confidential legal correspondence between Jackson State University and Summit Management Corporation. Let me make sure you guys can see this. There we go. It says last week, confidential legal correspondence between Jackson State University and Summit Management Corporation was leaked. That's key word, leaked. That lets me know they did not want that out because they were going to put out their schedule and they weren't going to have the Southern Heritage Classic and they was going to just take all the heat when that schedule came out. That's at least what it tells me. But it came out. Jackson State made a couple of calls. They got the game back going. Let's keep going. Which did not reflect the ongoing communication between the parties. We understand how football fans plan to attend games months in advance, and it was never our intent to abruptly cancel the participation during the 2022 season. The 2022 Southern Heritage Classic game between JSU and Tennessee State University will be played as originally planned. We are pleased with the conclusion. So that maybe Fred up the ante because it says we're pleased with the conclusion. And that maybe tells me, I'm just deciphering. I was an English minor. I was a broadcast major, English minor in college. So that lets me know maybe Fred did throw a couple extra ducats. It ain't $3 million, but maybe he bumped it from $325 to $400 or $450 or maybe even $500. Hell, I don't know. Maybe he threw a couple ducats in there because it says we're pleased with the conclusion. So that lets me know they probably didn't go back for the original $325. They probably got a couple extra ducats on top of it, $400, $425, maybe even $500. And look forward to bringing the SWAC championship JSU Tigers back to Memphis in September for what? One final battle on the gridiron. That means that lets us all know they aren't playing in this moving forward. That lets us all know that the Southern Heritage Classic, at least the one that we know of with Jackson State, will no longer be a thing moving forward. That's all I have today, guys. Thank you. Let me read some more of your comments, and then I'm getting up out of here. Let me read some more of your comments. Let's see. It says basically, I removed them. It says we'll never be the same without us. You're probably right. You're probably right. You're probably right. Let's see. Let me block. I meant to block. Let's see what else you said. It says the city of Memphis in the commissioners in the Liberty Bowl, and Fred should be ashamed because that game is more highly profiled than any other game in the city of Memphis. That is a fact. That game is bigger than whatever the Memphis Tigers do. Only game bigger than shoot, it's probably not even true. But the only show in town in Memphis that can compete with the Southern Heritage Classic with Jackson State versus Tennessee State is like the Memphis Grizzlies right now with Ja Morant. Ja Morant, the only thing in town in Memphis that's pulling something like this. Outside of that, and even they can only hold so many people, like 20,000. They can only hold in the NBA arena, it's only like 20,000. This game gets what, 45? Might get 50 this year, 45, 50,000 people. It's double what the Memphis Grizzlies can get. Sorry, not sorry. It's just the truth. That ain't $3 million a year. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's why it's one final time. That's why reading and dissecting every word is critical. One final time. That means because he couldn't match or he couldn't come close to what they're going to give from the SWAC Classic. So it's dang, I didn't mean to block Lillian. I wish I could undo that. Let's see what else it says. JSU has been looking to negotiate or not playing the Southern Heritage Classic for over 5 years. That is what you all have told me. That is what you all have told me. So thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.